All right, good morning, welcome back. Hopefully you all had a great spring break and were able to relax a little bit. We're going to continue on with our chapter 3.6 notes today. So we're actually in example 3 here. For example 3, it's basically the same as what we did in the previous examples. Remember, we were getting rid of either a root or a weird exponent, right? So we got rid of a root. If it was a square root, we squared both sides. If it was a cube root, we cubed both sides. If it had this funky power, we got that power by itself first, and then we raised it to the inverse of the power, so the flip of that power. So we're still going to be doing that. The only thing here is now that we're going to check for extraneous solutions. So the word extraneous, what that means is that you're going to have multiple solutions, and you're going to have one that's an extra solution that does not work. All right, so this has to do with squares. Remember, oftentimes when we take a square root, we have to add that plus or minus. Or if we square something like a parenthesis, we might have to factor it, and when we factor, we get two solutions. So that's going to be what ends up happening here. I'm actually going to skip part A because that one does not have an extraneous solution. So let's just look at B. So for B here, remember we have a square root on the right side, so we want to get rid of that by squaring both sides. So you need to be careful here. The first side we're going to put in parentheses because we have to square this whole side as well. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. That's our golden rule of algebra, right? So when you square the right side, it looks nice. That just becomes 7x plus 15. When you square the left side, though, remember it's not x squared plus 1 squared. You have to expand it. Okay, we have to expand it, and then you FOIL. So x times x would be x squared, and then we'll have a plus 1x plus 1x plus 1 equals 7x plus 15. So this is x squared plus 2x plus 1 equals 7x plus 15. Well, how the heck do we solve this? Well, you want one side to be equal to 0. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 7x from both sides. So I have x squared minus 5x plus 1 equals 15. Now I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides. So you'll have x squared minus 5x minus 14 equals 0. Okay, so now we're back to chapter 1 stuff. You're going to factor this and set equal to 0. So remember, to factor, we want something that multiplies to the last number, adds to the middle number. So negative 14 would be 7 and 2. So which one's negative? Well, it should be the 7 is negative. So this would factor as x minus 7 times x plus 2 equals 0. And then if you remember from chapter 1, when we have this set equal to 0, you take each part separately. So you'll set x minus 7 equals 0 and x plus 2 equals 0, because you're going to have two solutions here. So then you just add 7 to both sides, so you have x equals positive 7 and x equals negative 2. Okay, so we have two solutions here. So now you're going to have to go through and you're going to plug both solutions into the original equation. So let's start with our x equals 7. So I plug in 7 plus 1 equals the square root of 7 times 7 plus 15. So we have 8 equals the square root of 49 plus 15. 49 plus 15 is 64. So we have 8 equals 8. Okay, that one worked. Perfect. Let's check x minus 2. So we have x equals negative 2. So now I'm going to plug in negative 2 plus 1 equals the square root of 7 times negative 2 plus 15. So here I have negative 1 equals the square root of negative 14 plus 15. Negative 1 equals the square root of 1. The square root of 1 is just 1. Oops, what happened here? This is called an extraneous solution because this is not necessarily true. So actually, this one is not a solution. So our only solution is x equals 7. So that's why you have to check both answers here, and one of them we would consider just not working. So x equals 7 is our solution. All right, let's try one more together. So part C, again, we're going to square both sides to get rid of this square root. So I'll have 10x plus 9 squared equals, I have to put this side in parentheses. When I take this square, this just becomes 10x plus 9. This side I'm going to have to FOIL. I'm going to have to expand it out. So I'll have 10x plus 9 equals x squared plus a 3x plus another 3x plus 9. So if I simplify this, 10x plus 9 equals x squared plus 6x plus 9. I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. So I have 10x equals x squared plus 6x plus 0. And then minus 10x from both sides. So I have 0 equals x squared minus 4x. Okay, so how do we FOIL this? Or not FOIL this, sorry, factor this. First of all, we can factor out an x. This one we don't even have to really factor it, because then we have these two solutions basically, x and x minus 4. So one of your solutions then is that x equals 0, or x minus 4, x minus 4 equals 0. Add 4 to both sides, you get x equals 4. Okay, so there are our two possible solutions. We need to check these. Let's check x equals 0 first. So when you plug x equals 0 in, you'd have the square root of 10 times 0 plus 9 equals 0 plus 3. So I have the square root of 9 equals 3. 3 equals 3. Okay, that one works. X equals 0 is good. Let's test x equals 4. So now I will have square root of 10 times 4 plus 9 equals 4 plus 3. So we have the square root of 49 equals 7. This one is actually good as well. So you can have multiple solutions that both work, or you can have one that does not work. So actually I should change this extra solution. That it should really say may not work. Whoa. Really big eraser. Let's change that to may not work. Because sometimes they will both work, sometimes they will not. And that's basically all there is to it. So you have another practice. If you have any questions, I have Zoom meetings this week. I will post the schedule later on today. Just let me know.